Oh, hi.
Hi.
You again.
Yes. Good banks have high Community Reinvestment Act credits. Bad banks have low CRAs. Should we be using the CRAs as quality control on all the banks and see how those who rank higher and maybe put in sustainable investments, et cetera, as part of the CRA?
Well, my staff has worked very hard on the revolution in CRA, and we think that we've made some gains in ensuring that the banks are taking care of the communities that they're supposed to serve rather than outside of those communities. So we're pleased with the way it's developing now.
Because Silicon Valley Bank seems to only have done the right thing in 2021, and they've been around since the 90s, so their CRA reports must have been very low.
We're focused now on a agreement that they have for a development plan with the community.
Yeah.
How much is that agreement again?
$11 billion.
$11 billion.
$11 billion, and we don't want to lose sight of that with the Bridge Bank. We want to make sure that they continue with that so that they can keep their commitment to the community on loans, etc.
But making CRA a real important benchmark for banks so investors can look at CRA ratings. If it's high, you invest. If it's low, you say what's going on, maybe change of management, maybe they get taken over. Making the CRA a critical aspect
CRA, as you have said, is extraordinarily important.
Yeah.
We believe that there is a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
We believe that the way it has evolved did not really serve the mission that it was intended to serve, and so we're looking forward to continuing to strengthen.
I think
Can you talk a little bit about Dodd-Frank 956 now that executive clawbacks are back in the zeitgeist and why those rules
all I
were never
can tell you
completed?
is that as we take a deep dive into what has happened with Valicon Silly Bank and with Signature, etc., we're looking at everything. We're not only looking at why they concentrated so much on startups and why they had 94% depositors uninsured, and we're looking at clawbacks.
Yeah.
And we're looking at bank compensation. We're looking at bonuses. We're looking at everything.
With Dodd-Frank 956, does Congress need to do anything, or do those rules just need to be completed?
Well, I just think they need to be, yes.
Congresswoman, what do you think about the idea of universally guaranteeing all
About what?
Universally guaranteeing all of bank deposits across the board
Well,
for
see,
a couple
I
of
don't
years?
know. I don't know enough yet. But it is a question that must be answered, and it must be looked at. This was, my first experience with understanding that any bank would have that larger percentage that's uninsured. And so the fact that the FDIC and the feds and everybody came together and made that decision was critical. And it stopped a run on banks. The contagion that we were afraid of did not happen. And so that's one of the big issues that has to be decided. Yes.
Are you at all wary of the idea, or still keeping a completely open mind?
No, I'm interested in safe, sound banking and protection for depositors. And I do think that there may be a question about whether or not that larger percentage of uninsured is telling us something, particularly as we look at the startups and the way that they had this relationship with the bank. So I don't know.
Congresswoman, what are you hearing from the banking sector about what they see as the role of Congress right now? Do you have any short-term targets you've heard from them in terms? You talked about having an open door.
No, not really. But this is what we know. We know that deregulation is an issue, and it is an issue that those of us who not only participated in Dodd-Frank reforms, but understand very well through our experiences what has happened, what has not happened with the bank. And our mission and our responsibility is to make sure that these banks are safe. And so I know that there's a lot of push always about so-called middle-sized banks and whether or not they should be in compliance with the rules of the big banks. But we know this, that we've got to make sure that the stress testing and everything that we accomplished with Dodd-Frank has to be looked at to make sure that we're not going to allow deregulation to put anybody in the situation that it may have put Silicon Valley Bank.
We heard Chairman Brown tell CEO Rob Nichols today that he didn't want the lobby, the banking lobby, lobbying on weaker standards in the wake of this crisis. Are you in agreement with Brown on that?
Yeah, you know, and I think I alluded to it a little bit. We hear a lot about the regionals and smaller banks not needing to comply. But I think, look, between cryptocurrency and FTX and what has happened with Silicon Valley, this gives us an opportunity to say, not I told you so, but let's be careful because look what could happen if in fact we don't have good regulation. Don't laugh at that, but that's...
You're funny. I thought it was funny. Thank you, Dr.
But it's an opportunity that we're going to take advantage of. Okay?
Thank you.
Can I tell you something? I have 3 sisters and a daughter.